Yeah, this is Konganaya outside of Demico, the western pavement of Demico. And they are, of course, performing some cultural tunes Saturday morning. Old dog now bite me. Old dog now bite me. Mr. Phillips, hold it up. Mr. Phillips, hold it up. Old dog now bite me. Mr. Phillips, hold your dog. Old dog now bite me. He bite him, master, but he won't bite me. Old dog now bite me. Mr. Ali, hold your dog. Old dog now bite me. He bite him, master, but he won't bite me. Old dog now bite me. Mr. Rowley, hold your dogs. Old dogs now bite me. Morning, neighbor, morning. Are you morning? It is the 5th day of July in the year 2021. Happy birthday to all those of you Cancer who are celebrating your birthdays today and in the course of the week. Have a jolly old time, man. Be safe though, because COVID is real. It's out there. Apparently Mark Phillips and the others are not seeing it. They're not seeing the repercussions of poor management of it. They're not seeing what partiality is resulting in. But COVID is real. And you must take the necessary precautions. They say wash your hands frequently. Or lather with an alcoholic-based substance, hand sanitizer, in the absence of soap and water for at least 15 seconds. Wear a mask every time you go out. And don't go out unnecessarily. Avoid crowds. Keep your social distance, your physical distance, 3 to 6 feet apart. Those are some of the basic things which you can do to keep yourself safe from COVID-19. What you can also do, according to the advice that I have received, is fortify yourself. Use a lot of vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc. Yes, I'm told zinc is the bad man. So those are things which you can use to boost your immune system and so that you can protect yourself from COVID-19. There are other choices, including taking the vaccine. Those of you who have enough confidence that the vaccine is going to work at protecting you, go right ahead and do your thing. Who are we to tell you not to take it? Right? Those are some of the things which we must be aware of. But while we are bullying, or while the illegitimates are bullying our servicemen and women, and teachers and other professionals of the public service to take the COVID-19 vaccines, they are bending over to accommodate the moneyed class when they desire to railroad and to disregard the regulations which have been put in place to manage the COVID-19 situation. That is something we will talk about in the course of the morning. We're going to be also continuing this discussion on monies. Do you know who is watching over your lands? Do you know who is watching over your lands, over your legacy, over ancestral lands and other property? Do you know who is watching over them? Is it a situation where we've put cat to watch milk? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. We have had people being sent show cause letters and show cause notices because allegations have been made against them and charges are before the court. Those charges have not been determined, but they have been removed from their substantive jobs. The new order of the day is show cause. And so this morning we're going to ask Mr. Monies to show cause why we should trust him at the Lands and Survey. And we will ask this government, this illegitimate cabal, why it is we should trust Mr. Monies at the Lands and Survey Department. They said it's CARICOM Day. Certainly yesterday was CARICOM Day. Today it's been observed. As the culture is, when a holiday falls on a Sunday in this country, it's observed on a Monday. So you get your holiday today. But the question is, CARICOM or CARIGON? That's the question. CARICOM or CARIGON? We're going to talk about that too when we come back. In fact, I'll ask you to tell me whether or not CARICOM or CARIGON. Morning, neighbor. Greetings. Morning, girl. Keep your conniving morning. Yes, you could keep your conniving morning. You could also keep your dishonesty, and you can keep your racism and your divisiveness, because those are not things that build a nation, right? And for as long as there are divisions and oppressive tactics used by any administration, a nation shall remain divided. And division, there is. I understand a letter has been written to the quartermaster stores. Remember, dozens of police officers were promoted by the Police Service Commission. Remember that Fowl said that the illegitimate cabal is not going to respect that list. Remember, the attorney for the commission says that that list is valid because the purported suspension of the commission members by the fat guy with 19 fraud charges was ultra virus. It was of no legal effect because the procedures were not followed for the suspension of the commission. And for those of you who have an interest in the procedure, as far as I understand, it starts with the show cause notice from Mark Phillips, Super, that soup drinker, masquerading as prime minister in an illegal government. That show cause notice, or those show cause notices, were responded to adequately by the attorney for the respondents. Nevertheless, the fat guy with 19 fraud charges was so advised that the removal should be considered. And he immediately moved to suspend the members of the Police Service Commission pending the establishment of a tribunal to consider the removal from office. Well, as it is, as old people say, you put the horse before the cat. You put the cat before the horse.
Please charge battery. Please charge battery.
Because as the statute provides, the tribunal must be first established, and it is that tribunal which can advise on the removal, the suspension of the members of the Police Service Commission. And so that didn't happen. And so since there was a breach in procedure, it follows, at least in my mind, that the suspension is an invalid one. As they say, is a stillbirth. It died upon birth. It wasn't worth the paper it was written on. And so if the suspension was invalid, it follows naturally that the Police Service Commission, up until now, is a valid one. It's a legitimate Police Service Commission. And therefore, any list that it is issued naming promoted officers is to be treated as a valid one. What happens normally when the Police Service Commission issued a list or issues a list of promoted officers is that the Commissioner of Police or Force Administration actions that list in that the quartermaster stores is instructed to provide a badge of ranks and whatever paraphernalia goes, whatever paraphernalia go with the badges of ranks. But in this instance, I'm being told that a letter was sent to the quartermaster stores directing them that they should issue no new badge of ranks and no paraphernalia, nothing. So the promoted officers are to remain in their badges prior to promotion. Where did that letter come from? I'm still waiting to see if it is one of those self-serving letters those letters coming from an office which has found itself in conflict of interest, or whether it has come from the hopping rubber stamp, Mr. Hoppy. So if you have a copy of that letter, send it forward. You know, I like to have my exhibit. Send it forward, so I can name the officer who wrote the letter, and we can interrogate the letter. But as it is right now, an injustice is being meted out to those ranks who have been promoted by the Police Service Commission. And I'm anxiously awaiting the bravery of just one among them to approach the courts to have it address this injustice. It is time people in this society learn to stand up for what is right and stand up for the just causes. Like Paul Sosled said, you're deserving of your promotions, and you must wear those badge of ranks with pride. I want to add that you must also be exemplary for the other officers of the force. But before you can do that, somebody has to bail the cat. Who will bail the cat? That's the question. Who will bail the cat? And I understand a lot of these arrogant instructions are coming from their foul. But I said dance a yard before you dance abroad. And pot a fire, not pot a plate. And so that fool sees himself or portrays himself as a big bad bully while he's within the confines of the border of this beautiful country of ours, being mashed up by the illegitimate. But not so long ago, he ventured into a country where democracy is allowed to a large extent to thrive. And he saw what democratic practices are. While in the confines of the borders of this country, that fellow was bold enough to issue challenges to people who live in the US, to tell them, I'm coming and meet you, and it's going to be showdown. But I've never seen a bully pull his tail between his legs so quickly and duck and hide. Yeah, I'll go check the video. Check the live of the protest against Anil Nandlal and others. And that dinner which he had. I'll check it. The man didn't show his face. Did not show him face. Couldn't stand up and bat up. As a matter of fact, one little pussycat had 4 heavily armored security officers. And they were ducking his head like a common criminal. That is what they were doing. You know, when the police carrying the criminals to the van, prison transport, they duck your head down. That is what they did to that alleged law book thief. The man who had charges against him for state's property before he was named Attorney General in this illegitimate administration. And as you know, shortly after the hack, caused those charges to be null prost. Only in Guyana is that allowed. Just as he is only allowed to bully people in Guyana and instruct the police in Guyana. That idiot attempted to get the police to stop the protesters using their bullhorns, etc. That idiot didn't understand that he was in a place where freedom of expression was guaranteed. He wasn't in Ghana, where they kill you for your expressions, where they victimize you for your expressions. No, they had forgot an opportunity to see how democracy works. And I hope Guyanese who are tuned to the broadcasts, Guyanese who are fortunate to see the protest unfold, have taken a page out of the book of Rickford Burke and others and understand that protest is your right. And you should not allow this oppressive, illegitimate cabal to stop you from exercising that right. I've said to you viewers many times, if you think you can organize your community, send me your contact information. Because as of now, there are a number of us who are meeting with community organizers and community groups to discuss charting your own destiny, to discuss how it is you can organize your community for the benefit of yourselves and your communities, and how it is you can weather this storm, this oppressive storm by this illegitimate government. That's what we're doing. So send me those contact details. The number to send them is 6225933 by WhatsApp. You know that number by heart by now, I hope. I want to play some music for you. The music is significant, though. I want you to listen to it carefully. Not a lot. It's a very short set of music, but listen up.
No, I need everybody to do so. No. Party show again. Get them bubbling. Bring out the friends. Everybody drinking. Who cares for the drinking? Everybody sing. Oh, we are total disorder. Go across the border. What? Go across the border. Bartender, hurry up with the order. With the bartender. We need some drinks on the dance floor. Everybody know every time we just dance my show. Fine, get a holla, pull up. Mash it up. Fine, get a holla, pull up. Mash it up. No, they can't drink like we. None of them drink like we. Can't have stamina like we. But I'm stamina. How are you? Very nice to meet you. You look epic. No, everybody, say. Oh, we know I know the area. Total disorder. Go across the border. Go across the border. Bartender, hurry up with the order. New York, let's get to order. Play massive afraid order. Everybody go. That's my show. Fine, girl, hold on, pull up. Mash it up. Hey. I just split it. That's my show. Fine, girl, hold on, pull up. All I'm back and I'll win a day. Let me see it. Oh God. Can I get the other guy to sing? I mean, say. Don't for her nice. If she bites, feel it right. Rock me steady. Listen to me. Come on. What happens in the party? What happens in the party? So many things that you see. Oh yeah, it's not a party. It's time to get down and let yourself go. Why you want nobody to know? Just keeping it safe with me. Begging all of you who are new to this, please don't mind nobody business. Don't talk about what you see. Yes, we are.
What happens in the party stays in the party. The other word me I can't sing. But what I can do is investigate thoroughly. Once I come to the point of asking Super, what really is going on in this God-forsaken country? What really is happening in this country? That's what I want to ask Super. Listen, I am fed up of this nonsense. You hear? I am really fed up of this nonsense. Y'all hear the music there? What happens in the party stays in the party. It's time to get on and get on bad. And whatever else. I can't tell you whatever else the song says, but what I can tell you is that all is not well in this dear country of ours. I want you all to understand this. The ordinary man and woman, the ordinary shopkeeper, the ordinary hustler is not allowed to ply his or her trade. Right? They can't live their life. I don't know why I'm freezing, but let's hope that eventually I will stop freezing. I am seeing frozen image of myself. I don't know if you're experiencing the same thing. But once you can hear me, that's good enough. So I'm saying to you that while the ordinary citizens of this country are being told that they must obey the COVID-19 regulations, the moneyed class is being given a free pass to get on bad, to do as they like. And where are they getting to do as they like? Any y'all pass Princess Hotel recently? Last Saturday they had a massive wedding. Massive. I'm going to show you the evidence just now because I got it. Right? A massive wedding. It is so big that my understanding was, or is, all those who've been on leave had to come out to leave. All those who had day off had to take day on. Right? That is how massive it was. I understand this wedding catered for over 400 guests. Over 400 guests. But you know when you're talking people business, you must give Jackie jacket like I usually say. And so let me shout out the Narines and Pereira families. Shout out to them Narines and Pereira. I want you all to take note of the names. You all hear the names? When you all hear Narines in this country, you must associate it with money and privilege. When you are a Pereira in this country, you must certainly associate it with money and privilege. And we have a thing that we say, what do I say? Money talks and bullshit walks. Money talks and super has to take a back seat. You all don't forget that super is the head of the COVID-19 task force. Right? Super is the head of the COVID-19 task force. And so when these things happen, the buck stops at Super. There can be no question about that. Super is the man. Super has to explain to us why this was allowed to happen. Right? Why was this allowed to happen? A wedding catering for more than 400 persons at the Princess Hotel over the weekend. Wedding was on Saturday. The bashment continued Sunday. But I don't just talk, let's show you some images. I got some photos. You know the BUXTONIAN is always all over the place. The photos are not the clearest because you know they have to be taken surreptitiously. That sounds like a big word, but what it mean? Mean him know by. It's better to use clandestinely. Right? People have to take these photos on the down low. Oh, what you say about that? Huh? People have to take these photos on the down low. You get the meaning? Surreptitiously. They have to take these photos in such a way that they couldn't draw attention to themselves. So the photos weren't very much, you know, they weren't very much, what am I saying? Yeah, I know what I'm saying, man. They weren't focused and so on. The photos are not very focused and so on. Right? But the fact is, we got photos. And for as long as we got photos, we gonna show photos. Exhibit number 1 coming up. I don't know if y'all got strain your eyes, but watch good. Watch good. Yeah, see that? The man in the suit there is a live performer. I was told the man is a sing man. Right? Any man could manage a mic. So that was exhibit number 1. The other exhibits coming up, but you have to take a good picture study of that. Those who are good at assessing crowds and photographs and so on can make their own assessment there. And tell me only how many persons in that frame. Right? And if you can tell me how many persons in that frame, then it's possible. You can assume, given the size of the hall and so on, how many persons were at the event. I'm bringing up the next exhibit. Right? I am bringing up the next exhibit. And here's a larger view of the same exhibit. I'll take a good look. You see people there? But you ain't see nothing yet. You allow me. I'm going for exhibit number 2. I like to talk people business. That's what this business is about. Being the eyes of the people. We must learn to be the eyes and the ears of the people. And so here's another exhibit. Now watch this one. You could see the density there. Keep looking. And somebody asked Shalon, said, where was the army bus? Which army bus? You have to get a limo. You have to get a limo to go there. You hear the names? Narines and Pereiras. Right? Narines and Pereiras. I want you all to identify for me. This is picture study. Show me the face masks. You think people spending big money for hide their beauty? Y'all lie. Show me the face mask. Super. I want you all to show us the face mask. That's what I want. This is no sport. This is wedding. There ain't no soup drinking competition. And so Super got to know his place. That's all I can say. Super has to know his place. Look at the next image. Coming up. Watch out them that tick, tick, tick together. You see how they tick, tick, tick together? And there are a few others. But of course we can't spend our entire morning. Can't spend our entire morning looking at other people's wedding photos. But I'm sure those are enough to brought to your attention the fact that we have on stupidness in this country. Enough stupidness. Bangarang and Potapoto. In the voice of Laurie Alexander. A lot of bangarang and Potapoto going on. Things are regular. Now let's talk about the spread of this COVID-19. Y'all notice I didn't talk about it for a long time. Right? I didn't speak about it for a long time. Because as far as I'm concerned, we just throw water upon dog back. At least the folks who are in charge, when they are telling people one thing and they are permitting another, they are simply throwing water on dog back. Look at this one. You all see this image here? Watch it good. Everybody up close and personal with the live performer. Right? I even have an image where he was being hugged and so on. Because you know, Guyanese girl like a celebrity. They must touch the celebrity. You have to hug him to ensure, right, that he is flesh and blood. Otherwise, he ain't real. And so there they were, according to my photographer friend, my paparazzi friend. That's the word, paparazzi. Right? Super. Show cause. Why the ordinary rank and file citizen must pay any attention to what you are saying? Tell me, why must I, as a small businessman, shut my bar down? As a small restaurant owner, shut my eating house down? Limit the number of persons who can come in, if any at all, and operate within certain hours of the day. Why must I? When places like Princess Hotel and many of these other 5-star and 4-star and 3-star and maybe the old Galaxy hotels and so on are allowed to host super spreaders. Why? Where were those who are quick to come with the army bus and big guns to intimidate the ordinary rank and file citizens of this country? Where were they on Saturday when Princess Hotel was hosting in excess of 400 persons at a wedding and putting its staff and patrons at risk? Where were these people who were supposed to be policing the regulations? You all tell me. I'm asking. Our idiotic friend says I'm the expert on everything. If I were the expert on everything, I bet it would not have been here to make such a comment, because it would have met its demise by now. Me having recognized that it had nothing positive to contribute to the growth and development of society. Y'all hear me? Right, my idiotic friend? So you might be thankful. I don't consider myself the expert in everything. Otherwise, I would advise your mother, push a pin in the mole. Nevertheless, that's what we have to deal with in this country. The haves also have a lot of privileges to do as they like. They are immune to COVID. But the haves not, and they're trying to get, are continuously oppressed by this wicked and illegitimate administration. And so while the haves can do as they want and have fun and everything as they want, those who are trying to survive on a day-to-day basis are seeing hell. Going to the marketplaces, even those who say they voted for this illegitimate cabal are crying out. Things hard. Those who are into farming and fresh produce are bawling. Sales slow. They're getting a lot of spoilage. The flood situation has destroyed a lot of people's crop. And they're not receiving relief from this wicked and illegitimate administration. Instead of using the people's money for the benefit of the people, they're using it to protect a dead fowl, a non-productive man, 4 armored security officers in the United States of America. I wonder what it has cost the Guyanese people. We need to find out. And y'all don't take it lightly, because it had cost us millions of Guyana dollars to try to resurrect the dead and make the infertile fertile. Y'all don't forget that. These are the things we must address. They might look like small things, but they are very big things when it comes to the small man. That's what I want you to realize and focus on. It's morning. It's carry come day. Carry come or carry gone? That's the question. Is carry here? Did carry come or carry gone? I think carry come when Barnum and the others put their hearts and hands together and work for regional integration. Right? Carry had come then. But with visa imposition and the Guyana bench, among other things, over the years, I'm also now convinced that carry has left. So carry gone. I don't hear the other members of CARICOM criticizing this imposition by the wicked and illegitimate cabal of visa for Asian travels. I don't hear them criticizing that. And so you can't convince me that there's regional unity. You can't convince me that all equal. Under this CARICOM single market and economy setup. And so until all will be equal, you can't convince me that CARICOM makes sense. Carry, gone. Then I don't CARICOM it. David Rudder says, Haiti, I'm sorry. Haiti, I'm sorry.
We misunderstood you. One day we turn our heads and look inside you. Haiti, I'm sorry. Haiti, I'm sorry. One day we turn our heads, restore your glory. Many hands reach out to St. George's and are still reaching out to those frightened, foolish men of Pretoria. We still scream and shout. We came together in song to steady the horn of America. But the Papa Lord come and the baby Lord go, and still we don't seem to care. No, no. Haiti, I'm sorry. Oh, we misunderstood you. But one day we turn our heads and look inside you. Haiti, I'm sorry. Hey, Haiti, I'm sorry. One day we turn our heads, restore your glory. When there is anguish in Port-au-Prince, it's still Africa crying. We're routing fires in faraway places when our neighbors are just burning. They say the middle passage is gone, so how come overcrowded boats still haunt our lives? I refuse to believe that we good people would forever turn our hearts and our eyes away. Haiti, I'm sorry. We misunderstood you. One day we turn our heads and look inside you. Haiti, I'm sorry. Oh, Haiti, I'm sorry. Oh, oh, oh. One day we turn our heads and restore your glory. Haiti, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Sorry. For so long, we've looked away, turned our eyes around. Haiti, I'm sorry. 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 Haiti, I'm sorry. We misunderstood you. But one day we'll turn our heads. Whoa, and look inside you. Haiti, I'm sorry. Whoa, Haiti, I'm sorry.
It's carry come day. Carry come or carry gone?
The sun rises slowly over the hills. Everywhere is gold and sunlight, but still, most lights with hotels are crowded. There are days where dark clouds are shrouded. They don't smile and they never will. Only volunteers get the fill. Empty promises is what they hear. No running water from year to year. Hearts that no one desire. That if there is a Messiah, someday he'd hear their whispered prayer. Covered always bare and scanty. 10 people in a one-bedroom shanty. Forced to sell on the pavement. No vacancy, no employment. Cattle fire cracker from gunshot. Blood does flow when things get hot. Afraid to look out the window to hear voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 Lord, Lord, crying, crying. Voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 Lord, Lord, crying. Voices from the ghetto. Help us, Father. Oh, Lord. Mothers does just hold their head on ball. And them woman stronger than a wall. A big pusher eyeing she daughter. Son in jail for manslaughter. Too bad for the peer named Brad Boys. No bail, that's the black man's choice. Like Shadow say, poverty is hell. She little girl child belly start to swell. Some say life is a cycle, but don't draw she no circle. Where will it all end? Only time could tell. Outside the siren keep howling. Inside your belly will growling. Police raid very often. Simpson measuring a coffin. One night in bed you're sleeping. Next night is a wake that you're keeping. So you're praying to win the lotto, not to hear voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 crying. Voices from the ghetto. Crying, Lord, crying, hear them pleading. Crying, voices from the ghetto. A hand to us, Lord. We are not a forgotten people. Hear our prayer. With dented pride they soldier on. Revolutions, state politicians born. And often their tragic story brings a journalist glory. No wonder they view the world with scorn. From since the day they born, some call them rebels without a victims of unjust laws. But yet they christen the heroes, renegades, desperados, forever knocking on heaven's doors. Hear me? Steel band music shatters the silence, harmony to conquer the violence. Big men run when cops approach, fighting for scraps with the cockroach. Young Turks, they're tough protecting, almost every young girl expecting. So tomorrow beds still a borrow, there'll be another voice from the ghetto. Crying, Lord, crying, crying, yeah. Voices from the ghetto, crying. Papa, mama, papa, voices from the ghetto. Social amenities, Lord, heaven knows. Opportunities, well, them always close. Can't get work once it white collar. So if you can't stretch your dollar, it's later for you crack or smoke your pipe. You're short of dead from gripe. Life does rape dignity and pride, till there's only bitterness left inside. And every day is a hustle. Arguments are settled with muscle, till you're 6 feet deep by 3 feet wide. Children through life keep on drifting. It's something they're smoking or sniffing, or maybe they're trying to forget this life of misery and regret. No one to come to their rescue except Capleton and Boujou. So they boom boxes the Lego, the drum out voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 Lord, Lord, Lord. Voices from the ghetto. Crying, 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 crying. Voices from the ghetto. Crying. I was born and bred in the ghetto. I know what I'm talking about, you know. I from the ghetto. Voices from the ghetto.
Voices from the Ghetto crying by Singing Sandro. The late great Singing Sandro. Aren't we all in a ghetto in a place called Guyana? Aren't we all singing the same songs? Aren't we crying the same cries? Except if you're a Pereira or a Narain, or if you're a Rodriguez, or a Jagdio, or a Vera perhaps. If you got close ties and contact with the wicked and illegitimate cabal, then you don't need to cry the same cry. Because you get to do as you like when you like. You got state lands at $12,000 an acre, $12 million an acre. To establish big businesses like malls and so on, and parking lots and so on. $12 million an acre. But the ordinary rank and file Guyanese citizen pays hundreds of thousands of dollars for a few square foot. Right? So you don't need to cry so long as you're among the haves. And you got a linkage into the mafia organization, the illegitimate cabal. You don't need to cry. But the voices from the ghetto will continue to cry. I remember a few weeks ago, you know, these things have a way of coming back to me. A young female police officer was getting married The ceremony was a stone's throw from Ivleri. Less than 200 guests. In fact, less than 100. But the task force went in there and they shut down the wedding ceremony. They shut it down. Who dare you to flout the regulations and say you're getting married and this is your day and so you should enjoy it? And you should have your loved ones around. Who dare you? You don't have what it takes. But a few weeks after, Princess Hotel it was lit. And let me continue to talk about these things. Because people believe that there is no division and racist preferences in this country. The Buxton gas station is made to toe the line with the regulations. They're made to toe the line. But you go and check KK gas station on a Sunday night. Simultaneously, check what's going on there and the situation at Buxton gas station. And you're going to understand what is ethnic preferences and preferential treatment. Do that. You're going to understand that there certainly is division and preferential treatment according to ethnicity in this country. Now let me stick a pin to address two persons. And it might be three. Carl Best, I recognize you as a newcomer to KAMS TV. I haven't seen you here before. Forgive me if you were here before and I didn't notice. Carl is asking me to teach some of the listeners respect, because they have a hateful mentality. There was a young lady, is it Norma? Can't remember. But who was asking me why I don't... Yes, Rhonda Sobers asks why I don't maintain some sort of respect and not allow the trench capos to say what they like and do as they like. I want to say or remind that KAMS TV Buxtonian Morning Time has been broadcasting for over a year now. We just passed the 1 year mark. And from day one, I've been asking viewers to do this. Ignore those who seek to distract you. You have a reason for being here. They have a reason for being here. Your reason is to get information which is pertinent and to make decisions based on that kind of information. Their reason is to distract you as much as possible so that you don't get the information that is being provided. You have to be smart enough, you're adults. Am I going to engage a troll? Or am I going to focus on what is being said to me? I have a good friend who indicated to me that what she resorted to is putting the device down, not following the comments, and listening to me. And so she hears what she wants to hear. She doesn't have to see the nasty and distracting comments, as you call it. My position is, I have no interest in blocking anybody. Because if I block them by one name, they will come back with another. I know people who got about 10 profiles on Facebook, so it's a waste of time blocking anybody for me. That's my point. I also believe that for as long as they're here and they listen to what we say or they hear what we say, because they have to listen or they have to hear to respond in most cases. When they leave here with something to ponder. And for as long as we are giving them information that they have to ponder, the possibility is you will see a light at the end of the road. I like to refer to that story many times incorrectly. Where Sally got one box of the jackass and he turned Paul. That was enlightenment. Right? That was enlightenment for him. If you remember, he was the crucifier of Christians, according to the good book. He was always out to get them. And was it on his journey to Damascus? I don't know the thing too good. And that's bluff every now and again. Right? One box of the jackass. And he moved from Saul to Paul. So don't worry. All of these trolls who come here, y'all don't worry them. Their day of enlightenment is coming. Somebody says swipe right and you're going to remove the comments. You don't have to see the comments. It's as simple as that. It's now 8 hours too. I can open up the lines or I can continue talking. We can do both, you know. We can multitask. Jacob's Creek say I'm not up a creek without a paddle. I know what I'm saying. Thanks, Jacob. Oh, somebody say I should ask Noah. The bishop for clarification. Anyhow, let's get back to serious business. Let's get back to serious business. I asked the question earlier, do you know who is looking over your ancestral property? Do you know who has custody of critical documents to your ancestral rights, to your lands in this country? If you don't know, you ought to know. And if you don't know, you ought to know that you don't know, and therefore you should try to know. Oh, yeah. Right, you all need to find out these things. It's important that you know these things. This country has a history of land disputes. And the way this illegitimate cabal is going on right now, you know for a fact that they will do anything whatsoever to commandeer, to covet, to take away any piece of land owned by black people in this country. You see what the illegitimate cabal did when they came into office, when they were installed on August 2nd. By the way, we're approaching that 1 year anniversary. Hope you are planning something big for them. I hope you are planning something big for them. I hope Granger wakes up by then. Anyhow, let's get back to this CFC of land. Anything they will do to deprive black people of their rights, of their inheritance, of the right to be in this country, of the rights to equal opportunity in this country. As a matter of fact, if one to really be fair, the opportunity should be unequal, but the blacks in this country should get the better portion of it. But let's fight for equality. Let's fight for equality. The foundation of these lands were built on the backs of blacks. But every effort is being made to rob them of every little piece that they have. Ask Lincoln Lewis, he can tell you. I know of cases in this country. I'm trying to remember. But where the then Commissioner of Lands and Surveys was accused of manipulating documents to deprive people of their legitimate right to their inheritance in this country. And so you have to be aware of who heads the Ghana Lands and Survey Commission. You must be aware of that. Under the AP and UFC government, Trevor Ben was there. A public servant of class and respect, dignity, credibility. He did a lot. I'm sure he might have had a few missteps too. But people were starting to respect the Lands and Survey Commission because it had moved from a rogue institution to one where the rules of the day were respected. And citizens were getting their just due. But since the imposition of this cabal, Trevor Ben was removed. You all know the history of the story. 3 charges: misbehavior in public office and so on. Show cause notice. Dismissal. That's the new modus operandi of this cabal. And they removed the man with unblemished character from heading the Lands and Survey Commission and replaced him with one named Enrique Moniz. He's from Covanjan, I think, of the East Coast. Enrique Moniz. Name suggests ethnicity and so on, but in this country it's not always necessarily true. Somebody did describe the guy to me. I'm not even sure if I know him. But Enrique Moniz was made Lands and Survey, Commissioner of Lands and Survey, while there's a pending matter involving him. Right? Involving him. First and foremost, he was accused by the Ministry of Public Infrastructure of producing a surveyor's plan which gave ownership of a drainage canal to a private proprietor. Producing a surveyor's plan giving ownership of a drainage canal to a private proprietor. And by the production of that plan, caused to be issued a transport which gave ownership of that canal to a private person. And so, those were the accusations made by the Ministry of Public Infrastructure against Mr. Enrique Moniz. He was quote-unquote charged by the disciplinary tribunal or whatever they call it of surveyors. They interrogated the matter, found him guilty, and instituted a fine of $50,000 on Mr. Moniz. The ministry in the meantime, I think, issued a cease work order on those who were filling in the canal. I don't know what is the situation with that right now. But these are issues which happened between 2018 and 2019. Right? The fine was paid. And Maniz has approached the High Court to have the findings of the tribunal overturned. Meanwhile, he was placed in charge of the Lands and Survey Commission, despite such a serious accusation being made against him, despite a jury of his peers found him to be guilty of the allegations made. Right? But that is the man who is made in charge, given guardianship over documents which are integral, which are critical to protecting your rights to your property, land property in this country. While others are being sent show cause notices for this, that, and the other, and being dismissed because of the color of their skin, and because of the fact that they dare to be professional in their conduct. This man who has been alleged to have cause to be issued a plan which incorrectly gives the private proprietors a drainage canal in the Houston area. As a surveyor, and therefore, if you're a member of the Chartered Accountants and you misbehave, then your license can be taken away. But in Guyana, if you misbehave as a surveyor, and your peers agree that you misbehave as a surveyor, you get to become the Commissioner of Lands and Survey. And that is something I want to bring to your attention. And so I'm encouraging citizens, ask your illegitimate government. Perhaps somebody might even ask the court, why shouldn't Mr. Moniz be removed from the current position he holds as the Commissioner of Land and Survey, given the fact that these serious allegations were made against him and a jury of his peers found them to be credible. That's what I would like to know. That's what I would like to know. Callers, it is 8 hours 15 and the lines are now open. You tune to the Buxtonian Morning Time. Call and let us talk the thing on this Carry Gone Day. Carry Gone. Singing Sandra says the war goes on.
From ever since time began, has been inflicted time and again by man against fellow man. If man wouldn't learn from history, it makes him more violent.
Live, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. A happy week to you. Now with CARICOM, my thing, CARICOM was never for Guyana. Because I could remember way back when Guyanese used to go to Barbados, we were placed on a bench and sent back home. So CARICOM is not for Guyana. About that gathering at the hotel there with the people, I usually do a little concert for children in August, African concert. And when I decided I must go to the station, when I went to the police station, they told me quite blankly, no gathering, and I cannot hold the concert because it's gathering. And what you have said there, you have spoken about, it is so true. And I compliment Mr. Rickford Burke for the protest that he led in thing. And what you got to remember, put it in my comments, that once you got a character that you get, you have been accused, that means you become a felon. You are being given high positions in this cabal government, this regime. And when it comes talking to land, there is a land issue in my village. A woman, her grandfather had land. And people from the village office came together and cook up the land thing and give it a Indian person. And the woman is so, like, she can't believe that she dropped the case. And all the land gone to Indian person because people from the Denhamstel neighborhood committee at the village office cook up the matter. So when she went to court, the papers show as though this Indian person who went to live there less than 20 years is the rightful owner and heir to the land. So that is happening all around. Black people ain't stopping to study that we bought lands. But our people would say black man have ambition, all the lands we bought. There weren't places when they came here, they ain't had land. We sorry for them and let them into our communities. And today, this is the thanks we getting. I had a spat with one of them, a trenchie, who told me that we came here as slaves and we never had nothing. So I informed the trenchie, go to Africa and find out where we came from. You have a blessing and let other people come in and talk. That is my point for today. Bye-bye.
Thank you, caller. You're live. Thank you
Yeah,
for calling.
thanks.
The lines remain open.
Okay.
Yes, there are many among us who, this self, there are many of us who plot and scheme with the other people to rob their own of their ancestral rights. And when you look at them, they're no better off because they get the scrapings from the deal, and those who they scheme with gets the hog of the taking. Right? That's a fact. Look around. A lot of our brothers and sisters, they only look like us. They're not for us. They are about filthy lucre. A dime here and a dime there. And so long as the enemy can get them a dime to undercut the brother or undercut the sister, they take it with glee and plot your demise. And so we know that these things have been happening in the NDCs, and we know that they've been happening in lots of state offices, and they certainly have been happening at the Lands and Survey Commission. And so you have to ask yourself now, how safe is your inheritance? It was under threat. Perhaps people felt a semblance of hope when Trevor Ben was there. Ben has been removed. A man who has certain allegations made against him. The kind of allegations that can see people losing their property is now Commissioner of Lands and Survey. But that's fine in this country, because we're happy with the status quo. Nobody challenges it. Nobody stands up against it, especially those who put themselves forward as leaders of the people. They themselves are, and so they don't say much about it for fear that they will be revealed. Caller live, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kadaki.
Good morning to you.
Good morning, all Guyanese. The sister that just spoke there on the issue of land, primarily in Denhamstel, West Coast, Bobbies, Ithaca, and all across Guyana, lands that belongs to black people. want to send a message to Gail Teixeira and that type of mindset. Gail Teixeira went to The Hague just a few months ago with Carl Greenidge and Sir Ramphal to argue the case that the land Itering Bang and the dispute or the land contention between Venezuela and Guyana, Guyana has rightful say. So Ramphal and Gail Teixeira agreed that being that the land belongs to you, can nobody come and take what's not theirs. So that same principle applies in the Amsterdam as it applies all over everywhere else. But you see, if we don't have the knowledge, people could take things from us. Because every bit of land, that lady that take land in the court, she can't take what don't belong to her in the first place. So don't fight her. A time will come when we're going to put all the records on the table and say, show me where this land belongs to you. And when they can't show, they have to leave it and go. Simple as that. Simple as that. So don't fight up. You know, we got history in Rhodesia, now known as Zimbabwe, where Cecil Rhodes and them had taken thousands and millions of acres of land that was loaned to them by the African chiefs. So y'all could come in, y'all could plant. Same thing happened in the West Coast, but the same thing happened in the Namstel. Y'all could come in and plant. Then they tried to covet the land and pass it over to the British realm. So when Mugabe come in, Mugabe said, well, here what happened? The same land that y'all thief, y'all got to give back all millions of acres of it. So don't fight up with them. What Guyanese, African Guyanese must do is pass it on to your grandchildren. Let your grandchildren know that your grandfather, great-great-grandfather, 100 years ago, left this land. Me great-grandfather sampled by land, Philip sampled by land in Litchfield. And I know about it. We know about it. Jack Nandalala can't go and take that. They only could mount up and talk. They only could mount up and talk. You understand me? But how we know that? Because if you look in Litchfield, we have a record of what the Semple family has passed down to generations. I am saying that to say that that could only happen in the Namstel if somebody ain't looking after their business. So what we must do, this is why I keep saying, we must get down on our knees and give coffee the same amount of time that we just give Jesus. I'm going to say it again. We must get down on our knees as African and Guyanese and give coffee some remembrance the same amount of time that we just give Jesus. Because coffee left us a legacy of ownership in Guyana as far as black Africans are concerned. Secondly, on this land issue, black people like the ones in Namsen and across Guyana must know that African Guyanese are the original people of this continent here we call South America. We are the original. Look it up in Google so you could properly understand your rightful place on the land. Understand your rightful place, because only when you understand that you are rightfully in the right place, then can you make a claim of confidence. Amerindians are not the original people of Guyana. I keep saying that to black people in my book. They are Johnny come latelys. We are the original, meaning that Africa, South America today was Africa yesterday. And I implore you Guyanese to go and check it in National Geographic so you could know that you are rightfully on your motherland. The British conveniently did that to dissolve us of our rightful legacy. the University of Guyana and on a show where I have sufficient time to acquaint us with our rightful place as Aboriginal people on the South American continent. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for calling. The lines remain open. It is 8 hours 26. 6225933 is the number to call. The program comes to you with the kind compliments of EC Party Rentals and Beverage Services, located at the Buxton Market. Go across there and get yourselves some beverages, going at a good price. Also, if you need tables, chairs, tents, and so on for rental, because you're hosting that event, go across there. They have things to rent you. Go and see what they can arrange for you. They have a 360 party service. And so you plan the party, you tell them what you want, and they will make it happen for you. Okay? And if you're looking for homemade, pepper made like home, check out Nasa's Home Style Flavors. They have these. They have different sizes of peppers, achar, garlic sauce, and other such seasoning and condiments and so on. Check them out. They can be used on 626-3111. That's the number to call to get Nasa's Home Style Flavors. Check them out for your pepper, achar, and other stuff, seasonings and so on. Call you live. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kadaki and everyone. As you said, it takes a couple individuals within the black community to sell out, especially to the Indians. I myself, we are going through some issues with proprietors' land in my village there, that a famous PPP guy took it over, planting it without paying taxes. He went to the lands and surveys in New Amsterdam, put his name there, when my father as the chairman is the only name on the land, and he is planting their land. Those issues supposed to be resolved with Trevor Ben, and now he's out. Everything is a standstill. And that's what's going on. In 1992, when the PPP came into power, they burned down all the bridges to the backlands that the black people cannot go. You want to go to your land, you got to go till to Blackbush Polder and then come back up. And that's what's going on. And now, as you said, now they are saying they've been planting that land for years. They got right. But it's going to be hell. I'm not going to give up with that thing. As I said, it's a few blacks within the community who sells out and does this thing. Some of them, where proprietors get land, they get this Indian guy planting the land, and the Indian guy giving them the bulk of the money, and the rest of proprietors, they giving them 20%, and they're taking it 75%, and they're splitting the 25% around the rest of proprietors. That's what's going on. When people go into meeting and ask to show whatever, you can't get no information. And you would see the one black person standing up and support that man who they lease that land out to. As I'm saying, the whole thing is so rigged and CARICOM and everything. Just like the CCJ there. You get a European justice sitting on the CCJ bench. You think he is there, what he is there for? He's just a businessman. So that's what's going on. And something got to be done about it. That's why I am so still upset that when this PNU came in government, they should have been proactive, and these are the issues, the issues that we are fighting for now. They should have been fighting since they got in there. You got the decade of African Americans or African culture. What is going on? What is going on about that in Guyana? Zero. Someone should be asking Phillips and the Prime Minister and all of them what's going on about that. We are being stamped on every goddamn day and nothing is being done about it. Then we have a weak leader. As I said, he just shows his face once every full moon to remind everybody who's doing the hard work. People doing the hard work, protesting in America and all over, and in Guyana, and he just comes out once every full moon and show his face to remind people that he is in charge. Something got to be done, because I'm tired of this crap. Anyhow, thank you.
Thank you for calling. You know, I always complain of black people not respecting their legacy enough. I've seen and I've read of Indian families chopping each other to death for an inch of land. Law or no law. Law or no law. They chop each other to death for an inch of land. But black people usually say, oh, me not able to fight with that. One piece of land I always get, either bearing ground. You like I land with you? You get 6 feet by 6 feet. Maybe by 4 feet. That's our attitude as blacks. And we have to change that attitude. A lot of us sit back and allow our inheritances to be coveted by other people, simply because we don't value the labor of our ancestors enough. That might be the story of Guyana, and that might be the story of a lot of private lands which we are losing as a people. Because when you find in your communities individuals who are willing to bargain away the inheritance of the residents of a community, you ought to take condign action. And so that they can't bargain away any more of your inheritance. I heard a man creating havoc for the people of Denhamstel is a man named Langevine. You want to correct me if the name is not right. Langevine. He projects himself as the chairman of the NDC, to those who don't know. And he makes all of his underhand dealings and puts at risk the inheritance of the residents of Denhamstel. Well, I'm sure the residents of Denhamstel are more than Langevine and his entire family. I am sure. And so if he can't stand in line, the residents of Denhamstel should bring him in line. It's as simple as that. Hinto Kwashi will make Benny will take notice. You all must know what to do with Langevine and the Langevines across this country who are selling away and bargaining away black people's ancestral rights. I like to talk a story. And this is not blowing my own horn, but this is showing you that what I preach, I stand for. I grew up at Lot 9, Section C, Buxton. I know the lands are numbered. The one immediately north of 9 is 7. And north of 7 is 5. So you have the even numbers on one side and the odd numbers on the other. I grew up at Lot 9. That's where my parents built their home. But at 7, there was a tamarind tree down to the western end. And we used to go onto that tamarind tree and we were being driven off by the front neighbors. And if that was 7, they would have been at 6 perhaps. We couldn't ride that tamarind tree. We couldn't interfere with anything on that land as youngsters. But as I grew older and I became curious, and I came across documents which said that 9 Section C belongs to my father. And so the tamarind tree that we were prevented from going near was actually a tamarind tree that was on our land. At the age of 18, I engaged the services of a land surveyor who established that there were 21 feet of land from 7 that was being fenced in, that was fenced in by the neighbor at the front at 6. At 18, I wrote them a letter indicating that facts and demanding that the fence be adjusted. The elderly woman who was in charge at the time said, "My eyes pass her." Say, "Your eyes pass me. Your little picnic where you know about land. You manage." And she said a whole lot of things to me. But I stood my ground. Her son, who happened to be a pastor and whose inheritance I understand it was, when he was redoing the fence, I told the contractor, I marked the spot, I said that fence is not to pass there. Because if it passes there, we're going to get some problems. At 18. They conveyed a message to him. He eventually came from overseas. He spoke to me. I told him what my position was. He promised to investigate. According to him, he went to the deeds registry, etc., etc., and he verified. And he came back and he said, "Mr. Amsterdam, or young Kidaki, my fence will go at the correct place. Because it would not be Christian-like of me to covet what is somebody else's." And so that matter was resolved amicably. But years after, he sent a mutual friend to inquire from me whether or not I was willing to lease or sell him a portion of 7 so that he can extend the church which he constructed at 6. My message was, and this will remain my message to all black people who got lands, I will not sell nor lease an inch of it. Because if my parents, my ancestors, didn't care enough to provide it, I couldn't have had access to it. And the duty, therefore, is on me to protect and defend it so that the next generation can benefit from it. And that's the attitude we must have with lands. A lot of us take lands for granted. We got them covered in bush, fair, covered in bush. But they're our property. Every now and again, ensure that it is known that it's your property. And you will do whatever it takes to keep it as your property. Check with the NDC. Pay your taxes as much as you can. A lot of us like to wait on fancy materials to fence our lands. If we can't get fancy fences, we ain't fencing. And so it becomes a free-for-all. And then some smart aleck believes he or she can misappropriate it. And we have to find money to fight to regain it. We have to change that attitude. Those who we find are trying to misappropriate our property, we have to make them examples. The community stands to benefit more. And so any individual who's acting against the community's will must be made an example. That's my position. And it's declared publicly. You tune to the program. It's now 20 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. The lines remain open. 622-5933 is the number to call. As we return to Singing Sandra, the war continues and the lines remain open.
Producing deadly weapons with nothing but evil intent. So the war could never be over. Peace will never be seen. Long as man in this quest for power keep destroying fellow human beings. Fellow human beings, I'm telling you, nobody, oh nobody. When you really think of it, nobody wins a war, because the agony of defeat will linger. Nations still hating one another and superpowers. They're looking for more power. As long as violence and aggression still dwell in the hearts of man, brother, the war will go on. It cannot be won. No, 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 the war will go on. It cannot be won. Fallout from war is chaos. Plenty agony, plenty pain. Economies left in shambles that may never rise up again. Collapse of the money system. Disruption of foreign trade. People turning against their leaders for the blunders that they have made. Environmental pollution, radiation taking its course, and the thousands that die in battle. Oh, what a waste of human resource. Of course, I'm telling you, nobody, oh, nobody. When you really think of it, nobody wins a war. The brutal clash of ideologies, carnage and social anarchy, and life reduced to pitiful dimensions. The falling back of progress and growth for an entire generation. Sister, the war will go on. It cannot be won. No, 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 the war will go on. It cannot be won. War is just like a racket. It pays dividends for a few. But what does it profit the masses? I mean laymen like me and you. While the leaders playing their chess games, using the masses as pawn with political propaganda, the massacre still goes on. The soldiers, they never started, but they give their lives easily, while the leaders are in a safe place working out strategy. So you see, I'm telling you, nobody, oh nobody. When you really look at it, nobody wins a war. It has been the passage of history with the blood of the weak and the mighty. Great, great cultures vanish completely. War can create and destroy political boundaries as it goes on. Sister.
Let me stop singing, Sandra, and ask you something. Do you know there was a commission of inquiry into ancestral lands in this country? Do you know under the Granger government there was a land commission of inquiry, if that's the correct name? Have you ever heard of the findings of that commission? Was it ever revealed by the Granger government what were the findings and what were the recommended actions? You see, people just get all up in their feelings when I talk about Granger. And when I criticize Granger. And when I say he's one of the weakest black leaders this nation has ever seen. Perhaps the Caribbean has ever seen. I'll just get up in all their feelings. But I'm reminded that there was a land commission, there was an inquiry into lands, especially ancestral lands in this country. Ask Granger, what were the recommendations? Ask how many of those recommendations were acted upon, if any. Because a lot of those recommendations would have benefited the black people in this country. Go find out about them. Go find out about them. This is not beating up on Granger. This is addressing an issue that a national leader, black leader, failed to address to the benefit of his people. Yeah, let's talk about them who got black skin but ain't necessarily black. Sometimes I get the impression Granger's one of them. Got no belief whatsoever in black people's ability to do things. Right? And these are the things we got to interrogate and we have to discuss openly. What do our black leaders stand for? Black leaders in this country, check. Let's talk. I don't like to go here, but sometimes I find myself there. I don't know why I reach there. When people were talking about Black Lives Matter, when you were saying in this country all lives matter. Right? We have not had a black president in this country that I'm aware of that spoke freely, openly about reparations to black people. None. They're afraid to talk about reparations for black people and entitlement. They're afraid to talk about affirmative actions to right the wrongs against black people in this society. And then they wonder why it is the other people can say blacks are at the bottom of the social ladder. Because the other people leadership are bold enough. They are bold enough. They fly in your face. They even fly in the face of reasoning.
Low battery.
To do whatever it is they think they want to do. To benefit themselves. Not necessarily to benefit their people, wholeheartedly. Because all of this madness that this cabal is doing doesn't benefit the ordinary Indian citizens of this country. It benefits a small clique. But the cabal still does what they want to do in the name of Indianness and get the support of the Indian masses in the name of Indianness. But while the black masses are willing to support their black leadership is timid to take condign action and to take affirmative action to right the wrongs of the past. And that is why we're right where we are. Y'all got people at the NDCs who are not serving your interest. Come up with a plan for them. Pick in the house. Throw some gang egg. Knock pans and pots and pans in front of the house at midnight and so on. Make their lives uneasy. So they must know you are here to serve us as a people. And for as long as you can't serve us as a people, we're going to make you uncomfortable. I don't know how many of you might know by now. I said it on this program before. While there are many people who are happy that I'm talking about things which are affecting people in this country, especially black people, there are many of my villagers, I dare say relatives, who are very uncomfortable about the things I talk. Because a lot of them will get caught up in it. I took a stand on the overseer at Buxton Falls NDC. She had reached the age of retirement and didn't want to go, and I took a stand. There were lots of things said about me. My wife was at the time the assistant overseer there. They believe I was championing the cause for my wife to become overseer. But I was championing the rights of Buxtonians to get proper leadership. That lady had the interest of Buxtonians at heart, as the NDC overseer. A lot was said that convinced me that she had the interest of Buxton at heart. Because she wasn't Buxtonian. A lot of the BUXTONIAN councillors, though, were in bed with her. A lot of the BUXTONIAN councillors were pushing for her to stay there. Because they were all in bed together. And that is what is happening in our communities. People must be prepared to fight against injustices, regardless of how it will affect them at the end of the day. I have a registered business. I can't tender with Boxing Falls NDC for no job because my wife is acting overseer right now. Fine. I have no problem with that. But she also knows that the rule says that if I find out that she is doing stupidness there, I will make it public just as I make other people's business public. She knows me like that. I don't cover down nothing. I like talk. So she has made it a rule. She doesn't discuss NEC business in my house. Since she was acting overseer and prior to that, she never ever talks about the NDC business in my home. At least not when I can hear. Because she knows how I am. If I hear it and it is song right, I'm going to investigate it and I'm going to bring it public. So somebody was saying, I think my idiot friend, don't be surprised if the camera turns the other way on me. Boy, I welcome the cameras. Because I may get a bigger audience to speak my mind to. I'm not afraid of the cameras. I'm a crusader for the people of this country, especially black people. And wherever the chips fall, so be it. Y'all gotta stop this nonsense about is one of us. When one of us screw up, we must expose one of us. When one of us is prepared to sell an entire community, the inheritance of an entire community, what consideration I must have for that individual? Y'all tell me. What consideration must I have for that individual who is prepared to put an entire community at risk for selfish gains? None whatsoever. The good book says if you write down offend, you get with it. And if the left hand get offend you, of course you gotta get rid of it too. So some of us might end up handless. Y'all understand something? Some people are too ridiculous. You're fighting for their cause, they don't even recognize you're fighting for their cause, they fight you for the other people. Because the other people recognize that you're fighting for their cause. And it's a battle which is winnable. But instead of these idiots join the fight, they join the enemy's camp and they fight you. So you got double fight. You got to fight them that going to benefit, and you got to fight them that oppressing them that going to benefit. But for as long as God gives me life, I will fight the fight. And I encourage you villagers, fight the fight. Call out your leaders when they're screwing up. Call them out. We got yeah. Hold on, hey. We got one of them on the IDC Region 4. It is alleged that the chairman of IDC Region 4, Daniel Siram, met with Sarah Ann Lynch and has thus far refused, or should I say failed, to brief the leadership of the PNC what was discussed with Sarah Ann Lynch. End that madness. You are the chairman of Region 4 because by the virtue of the support the people of Region 4 gave to the coalition to win this region, the coalition chose you to chair this region, the biggest region for them. And you had a meeting with a woman who has been accused of having a hand in regime change in this country. And several days after you have failed to inform your political principals of what you discussed with her, somebody tell me it's not another Charon does that. Somebody tell me that this is not an individual who is not protecting the interests of the masses and who the masses should not insist on its removal. These are the kind of things I like to talk about that people don't like hear. Amna Ali, David Granger, and the rest of the PNC leadership must say to the Guyanese people, what Sarah met and discussed with Sarah Ann Lynch, if they were informed, and if they weren't informed, let them say to the Guyanese people why they weren't informed. I am putting it out there. There got a lot of people like tell me left PNC business alone. But PNC business is national business. PNC was the biggest party in the coalition. It is the PNC leader who said that unless you could prove that you bring 7,000 votes, you can't get a seat. It is the PNC leader who caused certain disaffections in the coalition. And so, for as long as the PNC remains a national party, I will discuss their business. Y'all understand that? It's now 2 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. This is where I will have to take my leave of you. Join me tomorrow morning. The doctor is going to be in the house. I hope he is coming with his surgical blade. Because we got a lot of incisions to make. A lot of people are going to feel the squeeze. Nevertheless, I'll have a good rest of the day as we continue to observe this 1 year KAMS TV. It's still my birthday. I'm still in my birth month. 5 days now. In another week or so, I'll be celebrating a milestone. And that celebration will go until the end of July. It's my right. I'm not ashamed. I celebrate me. Caller Live, good morning. Caller Live, good morning. Caller, you there? Caller? This one must be a troll. Because I don't know why you call and not answering. Or she. The work continues singing, Sandra. We got him in all corners of the world. Man, listen, y'all is getting me vexed. Why we can't do it now, sir? Or miss? I was saying to one of my colleagues yesterday, having seen the feature on the battle. Caller Live, good morning.
Good morning, Kedaki.
Good morning to you.
You hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
I sent a message to you. I don't want to go public with what I have to say because I don't want to expose my community to the PPP's greed.
Oh, all right. Good, I see
okay.
it.
The same thing you're talking about the lands matter.
All right, we'll talk.
When I was a councillor, myself and a guy by the name of Winston Samuels, we were two people who were fighting for a plot of land just back of where I'm living at number 51, the northern half of number 51, which consists consists of 42 house lots. We got that place surveyed and lotted out. Streets, everything were identified. And just because of a little hiccup at the Land and Surveys Department, something to do with the 51, let me tell you this for 51 is a transported village. But the man who did the survey is a man they call Edgils. So there's some problem with the Edgils plan. And I've left the council over 5 years now, and nothing is moving. I've encouraged people to go and squat on the land because it's ancestral land. But nobody is making a move to go there, Kadaki. No one is making a move. These people are so dumb and so docile.
I could come and take a piece.
Hello?
I could come and take a piece. I want to lead by example.
I didn't hear that.
Can I come and occupy a piece of that land? I would like to lead by example.
No, I can't do that because I was in the formation of the plan. The plan was to give the land to young people of the community. And all those people who had land already could not have made application. I already have 4 lots of land.
But I ain't talking about you, I talking about me. I am from every black community in this country.
Kadaki, you are a leader, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I am still a leader. I still feel that I'm a leader, although I'm not active among my people. And I have to set example. What I did is encourage my grandchildren, them. And none of them are making a move, Kadaki. None of them making a move.
They're living by you?
No, they're living by their mother.
Oh, the mother should put them out.
The 2 that I have here, and I told them exactly what you said. I say, you know, when you have a fight for peace at Patalan, but now your mother throw you out because the property belongs to your mother. Right. If Jose was in Guyana, lo and behold, Jose would have got some property on some house or something on one of those lot or 2 of them. The others that I have, they're not interested. One in Georgetown, I had get a Rasta one. He ain't interested. And the land that you living on, I give you a half flat to put the house on. I ain't give you the land, but really put the house on it, rest the house on it till he could get that. He ain't making move. The land is just about 100 meters from where he live in. Just 100 meters from your house. The land there. He ain't going. They're frightened, Kadaki. They are afraid. Right? You couldn't do it under PPP. Right? Do it. You had the opportunity to do it under it up. No. And I don't think our politicians were that stupid to remove people that squatted there. They would have come in to regularize them. And I explained that to them. Go on the land, you have to be regularized. The land belongs to your 4 parents. It is a transported village. But nobody's making move, Kadaki. No one is making move. They show interest and may tell them, one of them tell me, I'm going to buy one old out and can't put them. They say, hey, if you buy an old out, go tomorrow and buy it. They're not making any move. None whatsoever. Kadaki, what have I told you before? There was 70 acres of land in the first captain number 51 village. Nobody making move to get transport for them. As soon as I make move, Kadaki, they fight me tooth and nail. But what they didn't understand is that I learned too much when I went to local authority because I get to chapter 28 or 2 and I read it from front page to back page. So I knew what was going on. So I could have taken concise action. Right? So I tell my son them, when I go in for I go for a little 2 acre old, they said, Daddy, you waste time. If you don't want to do it, if you don't get the energy for do it, listen to what me can do. This 2 acre land where we occupy it, I gonna take my brother them and we gonna cut the perimeter apart right around. And when they did that, when they realized that the land was occupied because the overseer was a man like what you're talking about, the lady, what you're talking about. He was selling out people land and identifying people land to East Indian people in this community. And selling out people land. And we used to call it he was a $500 overseer. Collect $500 realized that the land was occupied, they start to fight me, Kanaki. They start to fight me. Oh, listen, Daddy, I don't know about you, but I depended that somebody gone dead. Somebody gone dead, but I certain it's not you, not me, or my brother, but somebody gone dead. Because this land is state land and we gonna take it. They're bringing a man in, Trevor John. He dead now, land of survey. When Trevor John talked with me, Kanaki, I get disoriented. I know if I got turn right or turn left. The man had me so depressed. But like everything else, Kanaki, I use my brain and I go wrong Trevor John. I start to find out from Trevor John. Trevor John is my mother-in-law, God brother. And I walk on my mother-in-law, I want to walk on it, and the table torn. The table torn. I had to use camera to ram that tan uncle to get lease for that land. I made application for that land and the land and survey department did not know about it, and camera ram tan uncle, he was the chairman for the council, took me to Corriverton at the Corriverton office and demanded to see all the applications for lease at number 51 for them. The third one was mine. The man asked them, what is this still doing here? This man applied over 2 years now. What is this still doing in this office? I am going to talk to Dr. Jagan. Me get talk to Dr. Jagan. Kadaki, 2 weeks after, I see my name published with an occupational survey. That's my name published in the Guyana Chronicles. Right? And that's how I got that land, Kadaki. And people still not satisfied. One of my son died because of that land. The people hated me so much that they look for all opportunities to destroy me. And my own Matty Black man killed one of my son just behind in front of where I live in. So this is how black people approach land issues. Right? We're not interested in land. The only time we're interested in land is like what the lady do with you when you go and stand up and say, hey, me want this here, this is me own. Me want this. Then they're going to tell you with grandmother, great-great-grandmother, they own the land. Then it's when they claiming ownership. And you just give in to them. And everything is back to normal. Nobody's making any effort. In 51, this village here, if I tell you something, you won't believe me. 90% of the village is under what you call it? We call it Boodle, but undivided. It is undivided, Karaki. Believe what I'm telling you. 90% of 51 land that owned by black people are undivided. Nothing then. I educate them how to go around that.
That's just how the ancestors left it.
Yeah, get an important, make him the administrator, right? And make one application, and you got to go and spend all the million. Make one application for the land, and then divide the land after that. Let the administrator do everything. But if you individually apply, hello?
Yes, I'm listening.
If you apply as individuals, it's millions of dollars you are going to spend. Let's come together, call a meeting, and make one person the administrator.
But
right?
you know what? You have to make the person.
Together.
You have to make that person aware that his life is at stake.
Yes, Kanaki, I know. Kanaki, I put them, I sat them down and spoke to them. I spoke individually to them. I spoke at group. When I see them gather in a group, I just find myself between them. And I just go and twist the conversation and bring it either to politics or what I want to discuss with them. Right? So, buddy, you are on course. What you're saying, don't make anyone deter you. Don't make anyone put you to the left, nor to the right. You have to sensitize black people. If black people don't want to take it, well, it's a matter for them. I know you're secure. I am secure.
I want to be the land.
Secure.
I come in. I want to be the land. I gonna take my name in the name of Jose.
That Jose, man. You give the information.
That's why I say I gonna take me piece in the name of Jose. I gotta get piece of the land if y'all don't want it. Y'all can't make these people come and take this land. Anyhow, have a great day, Carla. Thank you for the information.
All right, good.
You see, this is a conversation we have to have. And so you recognize I allow the program to go past 9. It's Carrigan Day, so I could afford a couple minutes, right? But this is a conversation we have to have, and we have to have a more in-depth conversation on this land issue. Black people value for land and what they're prepared to do for it. Right? But in the meantime, y'all watch Mr. Monies and y'all land there. You have a man of dubious character watching over your land. Cat watching milk. It's nice, sir. The records are there to show. His colleagues said he was complicit. His colleagues said he was complicit. Not me. Me know nothing but land surveying. But I know if it's me, I'm not going to stand up for it. So let me play a little music now. I'm leaving you with Singing Sandra. This is Singing Sandra Morning. In fact, let's leave you with Sugar Lowe's. Nobody loves nobody. That is what we're having in this country.
Ding, 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 la, ding, do, 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 ding. Hey girl, you look so lovely, and I'm madly in love with you. She said, don't mind, I'm on the streets here. I don't know what you want to do. No, don't feel that I'm shepherding. Not because I look dirty, but let me explain you, mister. I'm not really a hustler, but if you really want to make it with me, please don't tell me that you love. I'm sorry, because love don't love anybody. Everyone keeps cutting each other's throats. In this concrete jungle we live in, the episode is Murder, She Wrote. Cause you can tell how I feel when I'm hungry. You do not feel the depression that I feel when I'm broke. My so-called friends, they're just watching and laughing. They won't stretch a helping hand, I swear they have stroke. That's why I know love. She said love, nobody loves nobody. Ding, 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 la, ding, do, 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 ding. I said, baby, you must believe me, because what I'm saying is true. She said, mister, just pass the money and then do what you want to do. Boy, I was living so happy. Yes, I once had a family, but my friends then put me on a scene, introduced me to this thing called cocaine. Now I find myself in difficulty, searching for help only to find there's nobody, because love don't love anybody. Everyone keeps cutting each other's throats. In this concrete jungle we live in, the episode is Murder, She Wrote. Cause you can tell how I feel when I'm lonely. Many times I just have to get up and go and roam. No one can tell how you feel when you lose your family, especially when your house no longer a home. That's why I know love. She said love, nobody loves nobody. Day, 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 day. Day, 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 day.